Are you ready for this? A king returns to the throne, and he comes bearing the BMF Championship Mo. What's going on, everybody? How are y'all doing tonight? Let's get it! All right, let's cut the music. What's going on, everybody? Michael here. Welcome back to a live episode of Technoid. It is good to be back behind the camera, live as usual with you beautiful SOBs out there. And yes, we have officially added the UFC BMF custom belt that they made for me for my graduation, finally on the belt display stand alongside these other ones, which we won't go into too much detail. But anyway, guys, welcome back to another live episode. It is good to have all of you. It is good to be back again, as I said. And tonight, guys, we have a great show ahead. So make sure you tune in. If you're watching on replay, hashtag replay crew. I hope you guys enjoyed the show as always. And guys, make sure to like, comment, and share. And hit me up in Twitter if you want more info on live shows coming up. But anyway, before we start, as you know, we got to do our roll call. Now, our own SMT Nation, Sneed Mobile Tech, along with Mr. Dennis Beanie, he will be making his way over after they finish their show. They will come straight in if they are available, which I believe they will be. So you will see them later on in the show tonight. And guys, with me, we have a returning, I would not say a special guest, but a returning special guest. I had this individual on a long time ago, ladies and gents. This individual was one of, if not the greatest, one of the greatest persons or thereof that I've had the pleasure to interact with on multiple occasions. Now, of course, we've gone our separate ways, but somehow the roads all lingle back one direction. I am, of course, talking about the host of WhistleOut. If you guys do not know what WhistleOut is, I encourage you all to check out the channel WhistleOut. It is a great channel where you can learn a lot. I myself have learned quite a bit from watching all of her content, and I gotta say, she is phenomenal. I repeat, phenomenal content creator. I am, of course, talking about the one and only host of WhistleOut, the girl, the female, the woman, the goat, the goddess, known as Sherry. What is going on, Sherry? How you doing tonight?
Hey, can I just say that I need you to be available to introduce me to every room I walk into, every party I enter. If you could please just have that ready always. That just is like the biggest hype I've ever had.
Hey, listen. Anybody ever needs a hype man. If you ever watch my live episodes, I always hype up everybody, but I mean what I say. It comes from in here, and I really appreciate you coming back. It is great to have you back. It has been way too long, and it's good to see you again on the Technoid show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. It's been too long. I need to interact with the community more. I haven't been with y'all in a second, so I'm happy to be here and talking tech. It'll be great.
Hey, listen, you know, a lot of people don't understand about tech people. Listen, we have lives and other things outside of this. I was talking to you before the show. You know where my profession is heading. You know where I'm at in my stage of my life. So everybody's saying, oh, what happened to this and that? You know, guys, you got to remember, everybody is different. Nobody's the same. They're always going to have different things, and everybody's got their own stuff going on. So it's not that they're not wanting to be with anyone. They just got their own lives. But it doesn't mean that somewhere down the road, we'll wind back up where we started. So again, it is a pleasure to have you on tonight. And of course, you will be greeted with others if they join in. But anyway, guys, let's quickly do this fast because a lot has changed, Sherry, since the last time the Technoid show and you have crossed paths. Now we are officially affiliated with two companies. So we got to get them out of the way. So first off, to all my healthy gamers out there and also workout fanatics like myself, you are going to want to check out Rogue Energy. We want to take this moment to thank Rogue Energy for being a part of the Technoid show. If you do not know what Rogue Energy is, allow me to fill you in on the details real quickly. They are the next best, if I say so myself, alternate healthy energy drink that money can buy you. And of course, they just dropped a brand new flavor called Rocket Pop, which is, if you have ever had on a hot summer day, that nice little popsicle, that is the flavor. I had actually early access. I want to thank Rogue for sending it out early. I will be giving a breakdown on TikTok, so you guys can look out for that. So thank you to Rogue Energy for being a partner of the Technoid show. Make sure to go to rogueenergy.com, find your next favorite flavor. They have tons of other flavors on here, guys. They've got let's do it real quickly. Energy, hydration, and extreme. If you need extra caffeine, and guys, they are delicious. I am telling you, I have had every single flavor here, and I'm not stopping. Make sure to head on over, use the promo code Technoid, and save 10% off. But we're not done yet because we have to shout out our second and our most recent partnership, Slate chocolate milk. Now, guys, as you know, I am a workout fanatic. I go to the gym almost 6-7 days a week, and I am looking for milk and protein that not only helps with building lean body muscle, but also keeping the fat down. And I also want to say that's where Slate chocolate milk comes in. They are lactose free, 20 grams of protein, and only contain 100 calories in a can. And if that were not enough, zero added sugar. We want to take this moment to thank Slate Chocolate Milk. This is their brand new flavor, French vanilla. They also sent this out early. Want to thank Rogue for being a part of their community, and now Slate Chocolate Milk. So crack it open and cheers, everyone. Head on over to slatemilk.com. Use promo code Technoid, and every time you use these promo code, guys, you are not only helping the Technoid show, but you're also helping me in return, building a strong partnership. So thank you to our partners. Let's begin the show.
Cheers. I'll buy what you're selling. Sign me up.
Don't worry. There'll be plenty of time for that. You can always check them out. But anyway, enough talking, enough chatting. Let's get down to the show. So, Sherry, am I allowed to call you Sherry? Because I know you want to go by WhistleOut hostess. What should we do? It's been a while.
WhistleOut hostess extraordinaire, preferably, but we'll do Sherry for short. We can do that.
All right, WhistleOut hostess extraordinaire. Let's start this show off. So, question for you. Have you seen the Apple event? I'm pretty sure you've seen it or maybe heard of it.
I did. I did hear about the event, yes. I may have spent an hour or so watching it as well. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I myself kicked back before I went to work. I watched it at the comfort and coziness of my house, which, a lot of people always tell me, they say, hey, don't you ever want to go to a tech event? I've only ever gone to two. I went to Samsung and just recently OnePlus. And let me tell you guys something. Even though it's an honor for them to invite me out there, and I appreciate the invites, I actually like staying in my house and watching these events from the comfort of my own home. Not because of COVID, not because of sickness, because my couch is number one. So I'm not really too keen on just sitting in a chair watching them do blah, 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 blah. If I could kick back on my phone and I'm just going here like Twitter, that's just the life for me. So that's just me. But
events have their place. Like, events can be super cool, but they're also so overwhelming. And like all the people, everyone testing out everything, everyone's filming everything. Sometimes it can be nice to sit back and relax. So I'm right there with you. Right there with you.
Yes, I agree. But it is sometimes, if I was ever offered to go to an Apple event, that would be the day. I think WWDC is actually available for developers. I think you could buy a ticket for that, but I don't think I want to drop $1,000, especially if, I do my own programming, but not in that route. But anyway, let's get on to the topic. I'm going sidetracked now. So yes, the Apple event came and went, but the impact of it has hit very, very hardly. And right now, it's not only hitting the tech community, as everybody's talking about it, but also cellular. As you know, this is your field too. T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T. This is their bread and butter. This is like the Christmas for the carriers. Whenever there's a new iPhone, a new Samsung phone in February, this is their bread and butter. But it actually is so bad, in a sense, not saying the bad, that the pre-orders have gone so bad because apparently they've bricked the website, the codes have been used in different ways, and promotions are getting mixed up. Ugh, it's a mess. But before we talk about that, let's actually talk about the devices themselves. So the biggest star of the show, of course, is the one on the screen, the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max with the pill shape. Now, taking a quick look, I actually noticed that when I was covering these reports, and I think we all were, you see how there still is a cutout, but they kind of covered it with that dynamic island.
Right.
And I think, I gotta say, as ugly as that pill shape and cutout was, I'm so glad that they covered it up with software. I am so glad they did that.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of makeup for the phone, They're doing some trick of the lights with us, but I like it, and I think that little island is going to be, it's going to be interesting to get used to, but I think overall it's going to be a positive change for most iPhone users.
Absolutely. It's definitely a lot better than a notch. I can tell you that much. I'm still debating on whether I should upgrade this thing.
You know, what phone do you have?
I have the 12 Pro Max. I mean, it's a
12
great phone.
Yeah, that's a killer phone. You know what I always say? Some people upgrade every year. I don't think that's necessary. Every other year, I think is good to go. So if you were to ask me, I'd say trade that baby in and get that upgrade because I think it would be worth it from a 12 Pro to the 14 Pro.
We'll talk about trade-ins after. We'll see which is the best way to go.
Oh
But
yeah.
actually, one of the other reasons why I haven't got it is because I got this bad boy. I got the Fold finally. I went all in,
Mm.
and I've actually been using this on Los Mobile, which is killer, by the way. But I don't know how many more upgrades I can do, so I gotta, I gotta watch myself. This is too
Gotta
much for
pace
me.
ourselves on these upgrades now.
See, even I know my limit. But in all seriousness, though, I actually have been saying for a while, we'll talk about them now, but I think the biggest device is not the Pro and Pro Max. It's the 14 Plus. I've been arguing that the 14 Plus is going to be the best seller. And I
Mm.
want to focus on that for just a moment because there is a lot of negativity surrounding this device because essentially we already know it's a reskinned A15 Bionic chip with just a slight tweak in the graphics performance or the core performance. And essentially, the regular 14 is just the same as the 13. So a lot of people are a little bit not really too happy because they feel it's just the same phone as last year. You could just buy that. But on the flip side, the Plus version, that's the phone I think everybody is kind of sleeping on. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. And I'm saying to myself, and I'll ask you this question, do you think that the 14 Plus is the sleeper? Meaning, like, this is the one that's under the radar, nobody's talking about it? Or do you think that people are, we're just not seeing it?
Yeah, I am, I'm never really a big fan of the basic models in general. I don't feel like they have that much to offer in terms of leveling up year after year. And so I don't really ever recommend people get these models anyway. And I think maybe it's under the radar a little bit because it's plus and it's like they rechanged the name and maybe it's slightly confusing for consumers, but I'm not totally sold on it. If I was to get one of the new phones, it wouldn't be the 14 or the plus. It would be the Pro for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For me and you, we agree on that. I wouldn't go this route. But the reason why I say it's a sleeper is because I think for me, a lot of the general people, they don't really necessarily care about the whole Pro and Pro Max. They care more about, oh, can I just do A, B, and C? And nowadays, everybody's on TikTok and everything.
That's true.
And the surprising thing about the Plus model is that the only kind of setbacks that I've noticed, like the only kind of taking away, is really just the additional cameras and the 120 hertz display. And if you want
Mhm.
to argue the CPU, you can argue CPU. But I also think the biggest factor is that the price is in that nice 799, 899 price range. I feel like more people are comfortable spending that. But also trade-ins are super super heavy right now for them. Like you can submit, I think, and this is non-Apple related. This was on Verizon. We checked it out. You can actually submit an S10e and get up to $1,000 of trading credit through Verizon just to get the new iPhone 14 or 14 Plus, and you could get it for free for 24 months bill credit.
Yeah.
So this is
It's pretty incredible.
that's my thought on the Plus. But going on just for a second to the Pro and Pro Max, I want to talk to you about a feature that I'm pretty sure you know about, and I think a lot of people are considering this feature as a great feature, not just because it's iPhone, but because of the potential it could do. Now, me and C Mobile Tech and Dennis, we did talk about it a little bit. We did agree that yes, this is a niche kind of feature. And when we say niche, we mean like there's very slim amount of people that would ever need to use this feature. But the feature which I'm talking about is the new safety feature, which is the emergency SOS feature via satellite. So, according to Apple and according to the event, the way that this works is the iPhone will be linked up. It has its own built in antenna. So, let's just rewind back for just a moment. If you guys remember, I believe it was T Mobile that announced a partnership with Starlink. They had announced that they were going to support for satellite communication with the help for emergency contacts, emergency situation areas. And this was all in the span of the iPhone event. So now flash forward to the iPhone, the biggest thing that a lot of people were surprised is it's all built into the iPhone. Whereas T-Mobile says you can just use it as a service or it's an add-on. Some phones will be supported. We don't know. Apple came out and said, "No, we built it into the phone. This is our hardware." And for the first 2 years, it's free. So if you're ever stuck in the wilderness or if God forbid something happens to you, this satellite service is free. But then afterwards, you'll probably have to pay for it. So I want to ask you this question. We talk about safety, we talk about people, and also it has crash detection built in as well. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
But when we talk about cellular communication, the number one goal for a cellular company, for a cellular, anything, is safety in mind, being able to reach an emergency response. And seeing Apple taking an initiative to do this on their own, what is your reaction to this? What are your thoughts on it? And what are your thoughts on Apple's implementation of this, being that it's in-house versus a company like T-Mobile partnering with Starlink, things like that? What's your take on that?
So, well, just off the top, I think it's a really great addition to add into the new phones. Doing it in-house, I think, is a bit bold. I think it's a bit risky. That's a lot more like, if something goes wrong, it's on Apple, right? Apple's gonna have to take the brunt of this. They can't like put it off on a partner or something else like that. I think it's a lot more things to watch that don't go wrong on Apple's end, but that's going to be their problem to deal with. But I think it's a big risk taking it on themselves and that they have their own in-house thing happening, like to bridge the gap. But I do like to see it. I think it's really interesting. I was reading though that, as cool of a feature as it is, how widely used will it be? And so I'm curious to see how helpful it'll be in practice, but having it is nice just in case.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. I think the thing that's bothering me a little bit, just a little bit. I think the thing that's kind of making me a little like curious is the fact that they're going to charge for it in 2 years. Now, I understand that a lot of services have to be charged over time. You can't take everything for free. But when we're talking something that's so niche, so minimal, and something that can just, how would I say this? Something that should just be a standard. Isn't it more obvious not to charge people, or do you see it better that they charge it?
I mean, that's the thing, doing it in-house like this, they need the capital to keep paying people who are going to be, excuse me, they're going to need money to pay for the people who are answering these calls and connecting to first responders. Like, I don't think they can offer it for free. And I think the nice thing about like offering it for 2 years is that people who are going to like it and use it a lot are going to have the option to stick with it, right? And everyone else can not have to pay for it if they don't want to. So yeah, I think it's kind of an interesting thing. They're offering like a potentially life-saving service, but we're going to make you pay for it in 2 years.
Yeah. I hear you on that. Now, also, I see everybody is finally over from the Steamable Tech live stream. Welcome in, everyone. I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. We have our first guest sitting backstage, so let's bring him in. Mr. Beanie himself, Mr. Spitshine the Baldness with the beanie, Mr. Best Phone Plans himself, Dennis, my man with the big beard. What's going on there, big man?
Not much. So glad that I could be a part of your stream here tonight. And also, Sherry, a friendly face that I haven't seen in way too long. Hopefully things have been well with you.
Good to see you. Yeah, I was just telling everyone that it's been a second since I've been around, but we're here. We're making it back. Let's go.
Also, not to crash too hard, but I do got to ask, because I just noticed, did you end up getting the same mic that I did, Sherry? Like, legitimately?
Do you have the Shure MV7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I last had you on, you said you're going to have to snag this, and you ended up doing it, so that's cool.
I ended up doing it. I got too many negative comments that my audio was too poor for, being a tech tuber, and I had to upgrade. I had to upgrade a little bit, so here we are.
Cool. Well, sorry for...
I'm the only one here with a Blue Yeti mic, so yeah, I'm doing something wrong here.
You sound great, man.
It sounds terrific. Don't you worry.
Sorry for interrupting the flow. What are we talking about on this fine night, Technoid?
No interruption at all. We were just talking about the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. We've wrapped up the 14 and 14 Plus. We were just talking about the emergency satellite feature. I was explaining my position of it, and Sherry just wrapped up her side. So I'll throw it out to you. So my question was, Apple will obviously be charging for this 2 years after the phone. We talked about it a little bit on Friday. I think it was Thursday, or I think we talked a little bit more a couple days ago. But what was your take on Apple charging for the emergency SOS feature, and what was your stance on that? I want you to remind everyone.
Yeah, so my personal stance is I don't necessarily have a problem with Apple wanting to monetize a satellite-based service being offered to their customers. My issue is, however, the fact that they're trying to monetize an emergency-based service. So, like, I'm of the opinion that with this SOS functionality in a dire situation, it should be free available to all, and I think the government should actually be stepping in to fund this type of program so that it's accessible for all carriers, and even in a more ideal world, becomes standardized and available for all phone manufacturers, just like E911 calling is done. And then if Apple wants to try to monetize, say, like data or something, or texting or something, that's on them. But this particular feature, I think it's kind of poor of Apple to try to generate extra revenue from.
I totally agree. It makes me kind of like cringe a little bit. Like, oh, you could have lived, but you didn't pay for it. So sorry, we're
Yeah,
not going to send you now.
at the very least, I hope. At the very least, if they do end up charging for it, I hope that they wait, that they don't end up having like this like poor man versus rich man barrier where like they'll treat kind of like healthcare,
Oh,
like
man, that was
like
good.
i.e. if you have a heart attack, right, the doctor isn't going to be like, oh, you don't have money, guess you're going to die. They'll treat you
Right,
first, and then you can worry about the debt later.
right.
When you say it like when you say it like that, I could just imagine somebody on the phone with Apple. You're stuck on the top of Mount Everest. Oh my god, I can't breathe up here. It's too cold. Do you have iCloud Plus with enhanced cellular light planning? Sorry, can't connect the call.
No,
Beep.
Technoid, it's not a call. This is how it goes. Ready? You fill out all the information as you're bleeding out, and you get ready to send the text, and you get an automated response back. Sorry, you need to subscribe to Apple Plus's emergency services. Click link now. And then because it's a satellite connection with like no data connectivity, it's
Oh
like
man.
it gives you the little Safari pop. It's like, sorry, no internet connection, and then
Why,
you just
why do
die.
I why do I see that being a reality?
Well, we're in an episode of Black Mirror. Aren't you aware? That's what
We
this
are
is.
living. Well, I'm wearing black, so the mirror's somewhere reflecting off of me.
No, it's just the
But hey,
universe.
listen, we're in a okay. So I don't know if you guys watch UFC or MMA, but we are in an alternate universe because just yesterday it was supposed to be Hamzat Chimaev versus Nate Diaz, Tony Ferguson versus the Leech, and then Dominic Reyes versus Kevin Holland. And then literally today, within hours before the card goes live, they changed it. Now it's Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson, much better fight. Hamzat versus Kevin Holland, a even better fight. And then the Leech versus Reyes. We're living in an alternate universe where the MMA gods said, you know something? We're going to give the fans what they want. So thank you to whoever's up there from the MMA gods, because that's going to be a
Wow,
good fight tonight.
that's exactly what I asked for. All of my dreams are coming true.
Well,
You
speaking
just
of wait, hold on now. What dreams are you dreaming of now? Oh, come on now.
I'm being sassy. You could have just spoken a foreign language for all I know. I have no idea what just
I
went.
know. I
But
know.
I'm stoked for it.
Well, speaking of stoked, any of y'all ever heard about the Apple Watch Ultra?
I did, and I couldn't help but think it is the most overpriced smartwatch in all of existence.
Yeah, and let's just be honest here. I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. The damn thing's ugly. Don't look at me and tell me that that's a fashion statement. That is like taking, like those old your grandfather and grandmother's heart monitor. You wrap around your wrist and then you press the button and it goes, and then it just like beeps out like those, like the blood pressure measures. That's what this thing reminds me of. It does not look appealing to me. I'm just saying for me, and also the fact that it only comes in one color. They didn't even change the aluminum finish. Also, the fact that, while the screen design is nice, they finally got that new redesign. It's just a shame that we're not going to see it for another year. And the Series 8, I believe, are still rocking the symmetrical design. But taking the overpricing, taking the ugly design out for just a moment, I do gotta say though that I do actually like a lot of the features in it for the people that can use it, and I say that very heavily because this is not an everyday watch. This is not a watch that I can see anybody just wearing. I mean, sure, it has a big screen, but this is not a watch you take out in public and go, "Hey man, what's up? You want to check the time?" Everybody gonna be looking at you and going, "The hell you wearing on your watch? A Swiss Army knife?" Like that's how big and ugly the thing looks. But I will say, I do like the screen design. I do think the ambitions of the watch are cool, but I'm a casual, so I'm going Series 8 any day.
I will say, they're kind of going marketing wise, they're going for a very specific customer this time around. They're looking at some people who are going to be spending time away from society, right? We're looking at hardcore adventurers, extreme athletes. We're looking at people, especially when we look at the SOS satellite new software, and then this top of the line crazy freaking watch. They're looking at a very specific person to bring in customers for.
I mean, as far as the features go, I'll just say I was contemplating the idea of actually getting one of these specifically because of the fact, like, I know I'm young, but like, let's just say I had a heart attack or something, right? I think it's cool that it could report to emergency services and stuff like that. And the crash detection feature, that's pretty cool. Like, there is definitely some cool safety measures here. And I agree with what you said, Sherry. Like, the whole premise of the show was basically like, have us or die. So that message basically got across. But as far as the Ultra goes, it's cool. I don't necessarily care about the design. I think the functionality is what's important. It's cool. It's just, realistically speaking, I think it's going to fall into the same problem that happened back when Apple first released Apple Watches. Do you guys remember when they had like the gold edition? And we saw what happened with that from like a support standpoint and everything else. I think this is going to fall in that camp as well. I just think it's just too expensive for what it is. And even those people that would necessarily maybe be interested in a product like this probably won't buy it because there's going to be other specialized equipment that serves the functions of what this watch aims to do probably better. Like,
and it's more specialized, the other equipment that they're using.
Like, I'll use, like, I know this is a little bit more phone focused, but like, let's take the example of the SOS functionality, like that's incorporated in the new 14s, right? Satellite phones are nothing new, and satellite phones have come a long way, and to the point where like being able to call and have data connectivity on dedicated satellite phones is an actual thing, and they have more accurate GPS, and they typically have much bigger batteries as well because satellite consumes a lot of battery, especially when you start doing like the accurate GPS coordinates whenever you're having an emergency, right? Mm-hmm. Great that the technology made its way into the phone. Definitely very cool. But if Apple tried to charge extra for it beyond what the iPhone was doing, I don't think it would have sold as a feature, right? Because not enough people would have cared, and if they did care, they would be buying those anyway for like the people that like the hike and stuff. And this kind of watch comes in that same kind of territory with that. Like a scuba diver, right, isn't going to buy this. They're going to buy whatever the special gear is for scuba diving, or insert whatever the thing is, firefighters or whatever, whoever might want this.
And the other
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say the other gear people are buying, let's go with scuba diving. That's it's not as likely to malfunction as an electric watch that has a battery and has like maybe it's like a funky and the pressurizing didn't work and then it's cracked underwater and then you don't know which way you're going. You don't know how deep you are, but like the actual certified components of real scuba diving, like altimeter or watch, it's probably not going to fail, right? So there's a lot of more variables that go into a watch like this that you hope just works because it's supposed to.
I got a better question though, more so geared at Sherry because I haven't had a chance to ask, someone of the fairer sex. But Apple made a big focus on like this whole concept of being able to check like your different cycles and stuff. What were your thoughts on like that being like a feature of a smartwatch, and did that like concern you at all when Apple was getting that into detail into people's like biometric health? Like, do you feel confident with Apple being able to collect that kind of data on you and stuff like that?
Sure. So there's lots of look, depending on where you live, I'm going to have a different answer for you. If you're in Texas, I don't love that for you as a woman. If you're in California, get your data collected. If it helps you to track your cycle, whatever, that works. But depending on where you are, it's going to be a different opinion for me. But in general, I'm not too worried about it because it's more helpful than it isn't. But it really is, especially these days, it just is really dependent on where you live.
Gotcha. I tend to not like well, you've probably watched enough of my shows or at least talked to me enough. You know I don't have a big trust with big private corporations, even if it's Apple. So I get a little funny when it comes to just how deep they're getting with this data collection. Like I definitely get the benefits of it, especially when it comes to that kind of thing, because there's a lot of stuff that can affect, you know, the cycles and stuff like that. But I feel weird about Apple being the one that is in control of this data they're collecting.
Yeah, for the most part, I totally understand that point of view, but I've always been in the camp of I'm not too worried about it. I know the information that's being collected. I know what it's used for the most part, and I've never been incredibly worried about that, or it doesn't bother me so much. But I have friends where it does, and they're like, no, they're not getting anything from me. And so I think it is up to personal preference, but
it's not even necessarily that I have a problem with Apple having the data. It's the part where, like, what happens if Apple has the data breach?
Yeah.
Or the more likely circumstance, what happens if Apple decides to change their code of ethics and start trying to monetize the data? I mean, perfect case in point example, look at Google, right? They started off with do no evil, and then they started monetizing things that people didn't think they would monetize and started checking things that we didn't think they would start screen checking, right?
I remember that. I remember that was like it was yesterday. When that came out, that sent the whole internet in a blaze. But I think, and I'm gonna just jump in here real quickly because I'm with both of you. I'm 50-50 on both of you because I do agree with Dennis. I do agree that these big tech companies, what they get your data, you don't know what they're gonna do with it. They say they're gonna protect it. They say they're gonna do things, but you don't know what they're gonna do. And you do have to ask the question. Eventually, one day, you're gonna have to wake up and say, are they selling it to somebody? What are they doing? They probably are. But at the same breath, I'm also with Sherry in regards to I do think that, it comes down to the company, if you trust them, but also in the case of Apple, I've always said this about Apple. And I think you guys, if you agree with this, Apple obviously does see our data. They do a lot, but they're just very, very good at hiding it. And they're very good at not getting caught. I've always said that for years, that Apple is just really good at locking it in, hiding it, and just never getting caught. There were a couple moments. There were a couple in 2014 iCloud breach. They also did have a few things, but I always said that about Apple, and I used to say it as a joke, but I mean it now. Like I genuinely mean it. Like Apple is really good when it comes to hiding personal data from anybody, at least from my recollection. But I just wanted to throw that out there. I also wanted to touch up on that health aspect that Dennis brought up, so I'm glad you brought it up, Den. But the last thing that I want to talk about before we move on, then we'll talk about what happened with the cellular companies when this thing went on pre-sale. The last thing that was revealed at the Apple event, now this is not really your territories per se, but this is more of my territory. Headphones, AirPod Pros came out. I was so disappointed. I did not pre-order it. I did not order it. I'm not reviewing it. And I'm going to tell you guys why. I'm going to tell you why I'm not reviewing it. Number one, it is the exact same build drivers. They're using the same dynamic driver setup as the AirPod Pros. The only difference that are inside of these things are the H2 chip, better battery. That's it. Sound quality will be slightly tweaked because it has a bigger amplifier, because they did minimize these mesh designs to allow for less cabin pressure. They do have a lot more tech specs in terms of features, but that's the biggest problem with these headphones and why I'm not reviewing them. Apple has prioritized feature over quality. And I say that not loosely. These are high quality earbuds, but I've reviewed better. Soundcore Liberty 3 Pros, the Bose QC45s, the Quiet Buds 2. I've also reviewed a pair of Sonys. I've also reviewed tons and tons of earbuds. And while Apple has been very, very good at making it just synchronize and work beautifully, I've seen the competition. I've used Samsung Galaxy Buds. I've used Google Pixel Buds. And they are also very good. The difference is they can go across from platform to platform on Android. Apple's cannot. Now, that's not to say I don't recommend it. if you've never owned a pair of AirPods and you want the latest and greatest, definitely go for it. But they're too safe for money. I'm not reviewing it. I think it was a big disappointment. I was let down because of Apple's positioning of these earbuds. And a lot of the features that are in these are already on the originals, and they're going to be carried over in the firmware support. So there's no need to go buy out and buy a brand new one. That's just my opinion.
I definitely respect your opinion because you have had more taste for the wireless earbud scene. I will just say, though, I'm going to make a statement that'll probably make you angry, Technoid, but when it comes to true high-quality headphone quality, over the years is where it's at, and hardwired.
Yeah, I mean, either way, we all know that. That's a fact. I'm not even going to argue that. I'm talking about the generic, basic person that puts earbuds in their ears, because one of the biggest things that I've been doing, and when I do my headphone reviews, when I review everything, most consumers are not going in that route of over ears anymore. They're comfortable with just earbuds in their ears. Now, we could go back and forth on the wired, wireless. We all know wired is superior, but nobody wants to grab a pair of wires. So that's why everybody goes and grabs a pair of wireless
Okay, then
earbuds.
just over the headphones then for me.
They grab these, but Apple overpriced these as well. Man, she got the Martian hat on.
I read Steve's comment. Okay, Sherry, you saw Steve's comment. I was about to ask you the fun question. Does Sherry rock beanies? Heck yes. Dude, get a full screen going. Get a full screen going.
I gotta get my own beanie now.
Get the shared screen off of the Technoid. Yeah, there we go.
I'm gonna take myself off.
Where did you get that awesome?
This is my dancing hat. This is when I out in the desert dancing. This be the hat I wear. And did I somehow?
Technoid, I don't know if you can hear me, but you can make full screens without actually taking yourself off. I'll teach you later. But anyway, that's your dancing hat, Sherry?
My dancing hat. Yep.
Okay.
I like it though. I actually really do, because I've only ever seen you wear like gray, Dennis. I don't think I've ever seen you wear like a different color.
I have a bunch of other colors. In fact,
I've never seen you wear anything different.
I've worn orange like you would for hunting. I've worn like a red. I've worn green before when I wasn't doing the green screen. I've worn blue. I've worn a lot of colors, my friend. I've even worn magenta pink. I wore the T-Mobile magenta pink back in the day. You just got to go back to Best Phone Plans and look at the different channels.
I mean, I watch your videos from time to time. I watch them at least more than ever. And this is what I was just going to show you guys real quick. But anyway, I only ever see gray. I mean, like, I know gray is a cool color. I mean, I rock gray time to time.
I just do it because it's usually the one I leave on the floor next to me.
that makes sense, yeah. But yeah, this is what I wanted to show you real quickly. So this essentially, like the schematics, I had to take a look at them, and also been reading, obviously I will get my hands on them. I'll check them out, but I'm not going to publicize it because I feel that the regular first generation Pros are essentially, I mean, the only reason I would say upgrade these if you're a general consumer is if you want better battery life and if you want a more power efficient CPU, but most people don't even know what that word means, power efficient. So I really just think it comes down to better battery life. And also you could charge with an Apple Watch now. You can actually use an Apple Watch charger to charge AirPods. So that, I think we're heading in a direction where they're trying to find a way to get back on Air Power. Although I think that feature already exists on Android. Android just can't use the name. So
Technoid, I know you want to talk about pre-orders, but before we do, I think this will transition nicely. Sherry, are you ordering the new iPhone 14 yourself?
Ooh.
Yes, I am.
And which variant are you going with? Like, are you going with the regular or the Pro? And then tell us storage and color that you're choosing.
Okay, so we're going to go with the Pro. We're going to go with probably 512 and purple or lilac or magnificent violet or whatever.
Or lavender.
Yeah.
But, okay, so you're going with that. And then did you end up taking advantage of a carrier deal, Sherry? Did you end up buying it outright?
So I'm not super worried on getting it super quick. I haven't done that yet. What I will do is do it through Apple, though.
Gotcha. So you'll buy SIM free, like SIM unlocked?
Yeah. Yep.
There is no SIM anymore. It's eSIM now. What's SIM free, SIM unlocked?
Your girl has commitment issues, and I will not be making myself stay with any carrier for any extended period of time, even though I've been with AT&T for like 15 years, so as soon as you make me commit, that's when things start getting iffy.
that makes sense. And so you already answered the next question, which was you're going to use it on AT&T then, is that correct? You're sticking with them?
It'll be on AT&T. And then switching around, testing out different carriers. We'll be moving from carrier to carrier, but AT&T for the main.
Have you tested out Dish yet?
I haven't.
iPhone 14 is going to be the first phone that has support for Dish bands, so maybe you can get on Boost Infinite.
Well, if Dish is available in Southern California, in my area, then I'll go for it. But last time I checked, Dish wasn't available.
Go to Vegas, get someone that you know in Vegas to get you signed up, and then just snag the SIM card down.
We all know who that is.
But Technoid, how about you, man? You getting the iPhone 14?
Listen, I was telling Sherry behind the stage, I'm debating it because part of me does really want the 14 because my iPhone 12 Pro Max value is going down the crapper. It was originally at 700, now it's down to 510, so the value is going down heavily. T-Mobile does have I would say a decent trade-in because we do have the Magenta Max, so you get the $1,000 trade-in credit, which is double what Apple would give me. Apple would give me $530, but I would probably go the Apple route. I probably wouldn't go the T-Mobile route anyway. And if I were to do it, because I also explained that I got the foldables, so I already got to pay that off. I would probably do it through T-Mobile in that case if I was to do it, so it'd be easier for me to pay off instead of having to pay because double the trade-in value. And most likely, I hung on for this phone for 2 years, so I'm definitely going to hang on for another 2. So I would probably go the T-Mobile route, but we'll have to see. We'll definitely have to see, because I'm in no rush to get a new phone right away. But I would get the 14 Pro Max. I would get 256. I do not use more than 150 gigabytes. So I go 256. Color-wise, I would probably go space black. I was going to go purple, lavender, but I really dig that black. I think it looks a lot better than graphite. And honestly, if we're being real here, we put cases on our phones, so it doesn't matter what color we get. But yeah, there you go. But yeah, that would be my idea.
Cool. And then for me, I did manage to get an order to go through today. I went with the iPhone 14 Pro Max 512 gig version, and I ordered through Apple, taking advantage of the T-Mobile financing deal.
Nice.
So when you do the financing through Apple, are you paying through T-Mobile, or are you just linking your T-Mobile account through Apple and then just paying from Apple?
So the way it works is you get instant trade-in credit off the device with whatever your trade-in is valued at through Apple. So that takes off whatever the total price is. And then in my circumstance, I end up having to pay a deposit of like $160 and then the sales tax all in one shot through Apple. And then the remaining of that goes onto my T-Mobile bill, broken up over 24 months with the device credits of the promo.
All right. That's pretty good.
And the reason I did it that way, if you're wondering, by the way, is because if you do go through Apple, with the exception of the AT&T variant, if you do go through with Apple and finance, it comes unlocked.
That's right. Well, it's good that we brought this up because I was watching your live stream before we were going live on ours, and I got to tell you, man, the entire pre-order system got messed up, and it was bad. It was bad, Sherry. It was bad because not only did the Apple Store crash, but the promo deals got messed up everywhere. They were mixing up. People were taking advantage of the wrong trade-in deals. Some people were able to get advantage of not being on Magenta Max on AT&T side. I don't even know if they were able to get a confirmation code. Verizon was having. It was a mess. I think they got it fixed though. Did they fix it yet, or is it still kind of brick done?
I mean, mine seemed to be sort of fixed. I mean, my issue seems to be on a minor side compared to what others was facing. For me personally, my issue was that when you go through the process on the Apple website, you get to a step where you have to verify, like get your connected to your account. You got to verify your account, and it asks you for the phone number, and then you put in the pin to your T-Mobile account. And my problem was that for whatever reason, Apple wasn't able to verify with T-Mobile the T-Mobile pin. So I ended up having to call in to T-Mobile, talk to an awesome lady. She got us on a conference call with Apple, and we eventually got it addressed with me having to change the pin another time, and we eventually went through. So for me, it worked out fine. I can't speak for others, but at least based off of what I've been seeing as far as posts on Reddit goes, it seems to be basically addressed, but hard to tell.
It's not the first time that we've seen, these things happen. I remember when the iPhone 10 came out, I was part of the midnight relaunch. That was back when Apple was doing 3 a.m. releases. I remember I went on, I got the iPhone 10, I did it through T-Mobile, and minutes after I got my order, it processed, it went through, the entire site crashed. And then the Apple Store crashed, AT&T crashed, and Verizon crashed. So my question now, I want to ask Sherry, because I want to hear your thoughts, I want your reaction on this, but also I want to follow up. When these things happen, there are moments when you have to ask yourself, how, because we already know they're in low inventory also, because a lot of these orders are being pushed now to October and then probably November by tomorrow. How can they kind of combat this system? Because it's been going on for a while. It's been dated back since, long before. So there's got to be some new way they got to fix this, because if Apple can't even get it right, then, how are the carriers going to get it right?
Well, it just feels like it's buying a new piece of tech these days feels like trying to get a concert ticket to like Harry Styles or any other major.
You just had to bring up Harry Styles. You just had to bring up Harry Styles.
At least you didn't say Justin Bieber.
Look,
okay,
I'm saying, like, it's still hard to get like a PS5 these days. It's like companies aren't prepared to release their tech en masse to public. When they do it, especially when we're having delays in like the overall system of delivering and receiving and everything like that. There's just no website is ready these days to release tech. So I'm not surprised that this has happened. And I'd say unless you're like desperate to get the newest iPhone as quick as possible, then, hop on it, get there quick. But if you aren't worried, like, take your time in ordering. These deals are going to be around for a long time. And then once the holidays come around or you wait a month or two, there's going to be new, different, maybe better, similar deals to choose from to trade in or what have you. So I get the rush to get a new device, but I don't think it's necessarily called for.
Well, based on last year, I agree with you about the better deals, because I got a fantastic deal that I wasn't anticipating when getting the 13 Pro Max at Best Buy, where like Best Buy was doing like double trade-in value, and it was nice because I didn't have to do any financing, and it worked out well for me for buying outright. This year I did a little bit different, but 'tis what it is. I will say though, unlike previous phone launches, Apple's website didn't crash, so that's a big win for Apple. And the bigger issue here wasn't really Apple in particular, but an issue with failures with specific carriers. In regards to T-Mobile specifically being the one that was impacted, AT&T, based off of the reports, seems to have worked out pretty well, and then same thing with Verizon. It just seemed to be more of a T-Mobile focused issue.
Well, in that case, are we shocked?
Probably not. Also, on the topic of the PS5, Sherry, I've been trying to get a PS5 since launch, and as you said, I have not been able to get one, and I have just basically given up on it at this point. Instead, I am bracing to drop massive amounts of cash to build a new PC with Ryzen 7000. You just made a big ol'... Did I make you think of your brother or something?
No, I mean, the lengths we go to get ourselves the things we need these days is it's impressive. So I'm just that face was... I'm more projecting because I would never go through that much work to do it, but you're crushing it. I'm stoked for you. But I'm just like, I could never.
Oh, when I say trying to get a PS5, it's more like I get the Twitter notifications whenever they do like the drops, like inventory got added, and I try to click on it, and of course it's already sold out by the time I click on it.
Of course, always.
But anyway, Technoid is currently resting in peace at the moment. So in the meantime, I'll ask you a fun kind of catch-up question. Last time I talked to you, you were dealing with the horrors of Cox for your home internet provider.
I still am.
Okay, that answers that.
Yeah, well, your girl lives in an area where there is literally no other option. T-Mobile doesn't do their wireless out here. AT&T cable starts like a block up from me. There's like Spectrum around the corner too, but for some reason, my particular spot, the internet gods have blessed me with a really miserable option. So there we are.
Gotcha. Well, that answers those questions. I was about to ask if you had a chance to try fixed wireless or Starlink, but guess not.
Man, and I also am renting, so I couldn't do Starlink even if I wanted to because you can't attach anything to the roof. I'm in internet hell.
Speaking of which, by the way, I just wanted to say, even though you're super tiny right now, and I'm so sad that I don't have control like I do on the other ones, but I am loving your absolute updated background. I'm really digging specifically the lights that you got over there that got like a honeycomb design. Those are fantastic.
Thank you. We as in me, myself, and I, were struggling with the background for a real long time. But I put my head down. I took about a month, maybe about a year ago, and I just busted out this baby. And now we're here.
So Sherry, do you got anything that's cool that you want to talk about from WhistleOut standpoint? Get a free little moment to publicize to the audience what you're working on.
Oh man. So WhistleOut, if you've been keeping up or not, we've been very slow these last few months. Like the last 6 months have been rough in terms of content creation, but we have turned a corner. I'm going to start busting out content again, 2 videos a week in the next month or so. So we'd lulled. There was a little lull, but we're coming back. So if you are interested in checking out the new content, it'll be up soon.
I remember WhistleOut had a PS5 giveaway where you guys were doing a little job posting. The last time I think I had you on, that was forever ago.
Oh yeah, we did do a PS5 giveaway, and in that giveaway, I also had my life threatened and had to open a police report.
I remember this too. I didn't mean to bring up bad memories, but
yeah.
I only remembered it because you talked about the PS5.
I laugh now, and it's kind of like when people are like, "Tell two truths and a lie." I'm like, I've had my life threatened for a PS5. And no one ever gets it. It's a very unique fact. So.
I was listening to the whole thing while I was resting in peace. And I'll tell you, the PS5, it's still hard to get. But Sony actually I recently kept up to date. They're actually slimming the models. They are reducing the size of the components to make the manufacturing easier and try to get stock. But there's also another report that they've actually stopped manufacturing altogether. They for the remainder of 2022, they've stopped production, and whatever they have in inventory, they're just going to release it, and then they're going to start revamping this new design. Basically, the new design is 20% slimmer. It's like a slim PS5. They're just going to call it PS5 though. And also, speaking of honeycomb, I gotta admit, I know it's been a while since we've done a show, and I do keep up from time to time, even though I'm a little bit more busier these days. I do watch you guys from time to time, and I gotta say, I am a big fan of the honeycomb. I love honeycomb designs. I also like the green of your background. I like the thing, you see, I agree with you also, because I struggle myself with background, as you can see. Over the last few years, the last time me and you did a stream, I was in my pink bedroom. I was in a pink room, and I hated it. I said, I got to find a new place. But there aren't a lot of options around. So then I thought to myself, you know what? There's one place that I'm always in. I could just lounge around, show off my alcohol, plus my new championship collections, which is still growing. And also I could just be myself and do something that nobody else is doing.
Do you know what you could do to tech it up a little bit? Just get some string lights and put it on the inside of your wine holders.
Put them in there, yeah.
Tech those up. Maybe put some lights around a bottle or two. Boom, got that going.
You know what I think would be really fun? Oh.
You know what's funny? Real quickly. I am actually thinking of doing that when we do my yearly upgrades, which, by the way, guys, I will announce when we start that. What I was thinking of doing was putting an LED strip along the base of the top here, and then putting under the corners, and then have them synchronize so that way they're in sync and they change color depending on the topic. So if we talk Apple, we could change it to silver because Apple is usually a silver logo. If we talk Samsung, we can go blue. If we talk Google, we can go green, and just kind of make the thing look a little more fun while also infusing a lot of my modern kind of generation. Because a lot of streamers and a lot of things they're doing. But also, if you notice, and I've told you, there's no chair here. I'm standing up for the whole show. I can even sit on my bar top because I love standing up. I love moving my hands. It just, for me, it makes me feel better than just sitting down in a chair. Just like, oh yeah, man, we're just going to talk about something. Me, I love to stand. So that's me.
I was going to say there's 4 things that you could do that I think would be really cool. One of them would be getting like a stencil that you put over the mirror. That could be really cool. I definitely love the lights idea, Sherry. I was going to go on that too. Number 3, though, holiday themes, dude. Like, just get some Halloween decorations, man, and make it all spooky ooky, and maybe get a smoke machine that's brushing off the thing to make it a little of a foggy mirror. And then fourth thing, and this would be really expensive, but boy oh boy would it be freaking cool. Do you get like a projector or something to beam up against the mirror?
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? I have a projector. I have the projector stand. Halloween, I have a hologram machine that I use outside that does work on reflections. And if you guys know anything about me, Halloween is my favorite time of the year. So I'm getting on Halloween, and then Christmas time, we do little Christmas decorations anyway. So that's taken care of. But you guys just opened my mind up to a new possibility.
And what's great is it's recorded, so if you do forget, like I typically do, you can just come back to the best clip of the whole show. But joking aside, I got the best setup. Green screen for the win with the same original easy background that Stetson made for me like 2 years ago that I just keep using over and over again.
Done and done. Sold.
Side note,
right.
Sherry, if you are slow, I'm just saying, not to poach your guest, Technoid, but I would love to have you back on the Best Phone Plan show if you're ever free.
I'll come back on. We're direct competitors, but I'll do it.
Oh, we're strategic partners, as some would say. Strategic partners.
Yeah, we'll roll with it.
Or strategic rivals. What is it? What was the term that we used for China? Strategic rivals? That's what we are. Strategic rivals.
Well,
I'll take it.
Hey, I ain't looking at no rivals here. I bring everybody on just to have a good time.
That's for sure. Hey, Sherry, can I get a Craig update? What's he up to?
A Craig update?
Yeah, what's he up to?
Man, he's gonna be stoked. Someone asked about him. He's still doing reviews, leaning hard into streaming videos, but otherwise, he's living his best old life out in Utah. Crushing it.
Did he ever end up getting fiber finally from like Utopia or anything?
He does have fiber. Yeah.
He finally got it.
He's got.
I love it. I can see Dennis in a bar right now. You know, beautiful girl, anybody, be somebody. Come up to him, give him a drink or two, and the first thing he'll ask them, "What kind of internet service you got? You got cable? You got copper? You got fiber? What you got there?" And then the girls are gonna look at him and go, "Next one."
No. You got it all wrong. It's a trench coat on a rainy night on the outside of a bar. What do you need? You need some fixed wireless? You need some cable? Fiber? How about some Starlink?
I believe that. You know, it's sad that I believe that.
Technoid, I just want to say, by the way, do you want to know one of my favorite things about being on your show, personally? There's two parts. One is that unlike mine, we get to talk about such a wide breadth of stuff, which is just awesome to do because it gets kind of... Look, there's a lot that happens in the wireless space, and obviously I'm very deep into the grind when it comes to that kind of thing, but it's so refreshing to talk about other things. But the second thing is that you always get so many interesting guests of people that I wouldn't necessarily meet or old friends like Sherry, and we get to have funny joke moments that are just truly peak entertainment. If anybody's watching this, please make sure you're clipping your favorite scene and tweeting out the hashtag Technoid, and tweeting out to me. I'm at DennisBP3 on Twitter. You can see it in the name below, and yeah, just share it on your favorite social medias. Give this man the spotlight that he needs. Oh, and of course, WhistleOut. If you want to buy good home internet, WhistleOut does have an awesome website that you can like put in your zip code to see who was possibly available. Which, side note question, by the way, Sherry, who are you collecting that data from? I gotta ask you, are you allowed to share where that data is coming from when you're finding out what's available?
We have a hard-working team of people who update it every day.
Is it a sad intern named Brian that's just working there slowly but surely, clicking on each website and having to put in fake addresses?
You know, I don't know if their name's Brian, but yeah.
I'm gonna just say this before we wrap up the show real quickly. Because also, by the way, it's 9:00, so I'll wrap it up in just a moment. We were gonna do one more topic, but we'll save it for another night. But I'll just say this real quickly. I love WhistleOut. It's entertaining. It's great. You got some good coverage. I know you said you've been hitting a rock a little bit recently with content, but listen, we all hit that plateau, but eventually we get over the hump. And you know something? I'm one to speak because I barely even get 100 views a video, but when I do, they just, and I'm not ashamed of it because at the end of the day, my goal is an entertainer. I'm not a news source. I may act like one, but ultimately at the end of the day, I'm an entertainer. I'm here to entertain, give some fun, and bring people together. That's who I am. And I would definitely say this, I'm planning a trip to California. I'm putting it out there because me and my uncle, we were supposed to plan a trip for going to the Apple Park. So we're working on that for San Diego Comic-Con next year. If if I'm going down to California, you could bet your bottom dollar I'm stopping by WhistleOut Studios and I'm sabotaging, I'm hacking over, and we could make a video, whatever. We can bring some good content for the people if you're up for it.
Absolutely. When you're out here, let me know. We'll definitely do some co-creating for sure.
And if I'm ever in California, I'll make sure to hook up your Wi-Fi network for you.
Thank you. Yeah, and we'll do a video doing that as well. Perfect.
I'm kidding.
All right. With that said, though, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our time limit. So, guys, before we wrap up the video, we got to do a quick thank you to everyone here tonight. First of all, we got to thank our returning guest host, Dennis. He is officially a staple of the Technoid live episodes. It's always appreciative when you come in, even if it's 5, 10, 20 minutes. Doesn't matter when you come. We appreciate you being a supporter of the channel. We also appreciate you being here, period. So thank you, Dennis, for your continued support, and I really, really appreciate you being here. I also want to take a huge shout out to Sherry as well. I know it's been a long time since we've seen each other, and I know for a fact that it's also been, a long time in general. A lot of things have changed, a lot of things have come and gone, but most importantly, it's great that we were able to still somewhat keep communication, and it's great to have you back. I cannot wait for all the stuff that you bring. I cannot wait for your coverage again. I have my notifications on. And like I always tell all my guests, you are more than welcome to come back whenever you're ready to come on my show. You don't have to be afraid to ask. You're more than welcome to just say, hey, can I come on? I'll always invite you guys. I will never not say no to nobody. And real quickly, got to do this. So as you know, I have a tendency to make it a little entertaining, set up the next week's show. We're going to do a little UFC style. I'm ready to cut a promo. Main event next week. I'm calling out by name. I'm calling out Galen's Gadget, Mr. Smartwatch. There is not one person on this planet that doesn't want to see me and you go 2-on-1 collab. Been too long, my friends. But guess what? If you get a momentary lapse in judgment and you forget my name and you can't remember who I am, I got one dude on my mind. Stetson Doggett! Your time has come! You and me gotta meet up somewhere! But I wanna up the stakes, Stetson. I wanna up the stakes! I want you at your baddest. I want you at your best! You and me! On a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, this summer, this fall, this winter, this autumn, I don't care. Get me on with you, and we're gonna tear the house down. God bless. I'll see you at the top. That's how you end the show. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, share. Have a good night, you beautiful people. Technoid signing.